Hello, my name is Tyler Bachman. I'm here to give a presentation on Tommy Boy. It's a movie that I've analyzed. Here we'll be playing a couple of clips. Essentially, this movie is pretty famous. You've probably seen it online. You've probably seen advertisements. You might know Chris Farley. He died. And he's a very funny guy. You'll probably see clips and widgets of him acting during this presentation, and it's quite wonderful. He's a great actor. Really fun stuff. Part of this presentation is based on a theory that I discovered called change theory. I was going to go with a different theory, but after wanting to basically use a handful of theories in one to describe a particular idea that I had, I decided instead to go with this theory that I had found called change theory. Typically, change theory is about planning for the future. Hoffman-Miller, 2022, created this theory, and essentially it's typically used in successful planning of the future. So the word change I might use interchangeably with for different purposes, but essentially this theory kind of covers everything that I've been wanting to talk about. And I'll just analyze this relic of a movie, this comedy, this genre, this medium. It's funny, and that's kind of fun, which is part of the word funny. So that's kind of neat. But anyway, the first part of sort of change theory that I want to talk about is ethics. Hudson, 2022, spoke of ethics, especially in the form of entertainment and comedy. The reason I bring up ethics is because I feel like it's sort of the base foundation. It's sort of we're a good place to start when it comes to change and noticing comedy and things being placed sort of in that sort of funny comedic entertaining atmosphere. Ethics typically refers to sort of the rules and way things the way things go. Ethics usually kind of explains the table and the walls. It's an important aspect of what we talk about in this film. Ethics might like I said kind of refer to the walls, the edges. If you watch, you can almost feel and find ethics in everything, in each part, and especially if of course you know what ethics means. So that's important. That's pretty similar to law. Law is the second paradigm that I wanted to go into. Callister, 2020, said that law in entertainment is canon. That law is sort of like an influential factor. If you have to know the last 10 to 20 years of something, if the history is important or provided, that the word law is sort of supplies that framework, that where we are, what we're doing within sort of the ethics and the theme. That's kind of fun. My the fourth source, and then I'll kind of get into a slightly different mode of things. But let me check something actually. But my fourth source, we'll spend a couple minutes on this, and I might take a short break or two as we sort of observe the film. I put this together. It's a bunch of clips, sort of staged next to each other. But yeah, so my fourth source is Joshi et al. 2023, and it discusses the role of technology. Now the context for this is of course comedic film, things being funny. We've noticed that sometimes things aren't funny. Maybe you're not watching the film, maybe you're off at school or doing something else. But the role of technology is important. For example, in this setup, you can see my Switch. I wouldn't play this for my Switch, but instead I have this computer that my wireless keyboard is attached to, and that's what is playing this video that I put together on Clipchamp, of course. A movie, Tommy Boy. Movies are fantastic. Technology allows movies to be sort of fantasy related, to cover things that these don't. Throughout this movie, they feature car crashes and all this stuff, and their car's all broken down. Their doors falling off. The windows are cracked from a deer tore off the top of their thing, or maybe not yet. I'm not sure where we're at in the movie. Sometimes even timelines are kind of different, and out of time, and that could be fun. This movie is from a time period where Dumb and Dumber was popular, where there was miscongeniality. I was sort of raised with these movies. I had this movie in particular as a child. It was on a DVD, a disc. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it might have been a VHS, as a matter of fact. I watched it a bunch growing up. I thought that was tons of fun. And now I was able to watch it a couple of times recently, of course. And it's kind of fun that, it starts with him graduating college. That's sort of a fun time in people's lives. And has all these adventures with career and his family, and it's sort of we've been learning about it's sort of placed into the mundane, but it's funny. It's and not always because he's being pretending to be fat or stupid, or they're failing at hitting on girls or something. They end up being family members or whatever, but it's funny and it's open. Like, I was uncontrollably laughing before I started this presentation about a scene where he's running through this grassy field, and the sprinklers turn on, and I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was super duper funny. And the whole thing, a lot of movies and comedies kind of stacked like that. Technology allows movies to sort of do that thing, to stack in that way. Which is fun. Furthermore, change theory, it covers sort of planning and scheduling. It teaches how things can get arranged and rearranged. It talks in terms of things being good and great, like success, and accuracy, and the way that life really happens. Not bad things happening, but the whole, the starry sky, the things that are always true and the only truth, and that's things being beautiful and working fine. And that's always been true, which is fun, which is great. Technology helps capture that. There's these funny scenes going on. There's someone talking, things in the background. It's pretty neat, pretty fun. And as I analyze this piece of comedy and sort of the genre in general and what makes things funny, then I think that within sort of this, our understanding thus far of change theory and the ways that it's been applied, I think that technology, especially with a bit of grounding, and as we've, I believe I accomplished this, we've already discussed a bit of law in this text work, in this framework. But I think the role of technology sets things up so that we're in suddenly a humorous situation in that success line, not distracted, not dealing with the kids and complaining, but not in a drafted war, but with our technology in whatever it is, 2024. That's where we're at, and it's fun. This is a pretty famous scene. I'll let this one play out.
Let's say you're driving along the road with your family, and you're driving along, then all of a sudden there's a truck tire in the middle of the road, and you hit the brakes. Whoa, that was close. Now let's see what happens when you're driving with the other guy's brake pad. You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it. Truck tire. I can't stop. There's a cliff. And your family's screaming, oh my God, we're burning alive. No,
Huh. I'm not so sure why it muted, but that's fine. It's still, it only has like a second left. It's probably good you can't hear in case you haven't seen the movie or it's been a while. He says a couple of iconic lines that are known. Nice. That one's pretty funny. But that one also I once had to do that scene myself when I was in 6th grade. I had to reenact that scene. My mother encouraged me to change it a little bit, and so I did sort of a freestyle improvised version of that scene, and it was fun. I don't have much of like a loud actor's voice, but it was fun to do that. And this watching the scene reminded me of the technology used, you know, the cars, and he's a failing salesman. This whole comedy sort of, you know, this story, this metaphor, and he's trying to save his dad's company. His dad died, and he's not a salesman. He didn't go to school for sales, I believe. And he has to save his dad's company. He doesn't do a good job. They get lucky at some point in the movie, and they sell tons and tons and tons. It ends up having a bit of a hiccup, a bit of a hero's journey when his new brother-in-law, who killed his dad basically on a scam, messed with their computers. Everything kind of got messed up. But they're able to save even that, which is pretty impressive. But until then, he's, you know, blowing up cars in people's offices. You know, they're walking out on nose the first second, and there's dozens and dozens of these examples, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I've done sales myself, and it can be, you know, door to door, right in your face. It can be, you know, on the phone with an iPad. You know, there's advertisements and follow-ups. There's pre-contracts. There's you know, other sales products. And you know, we're all having a good time. We're all having a fun time. So it works out. So it's fine. My fourth reference is a little unique. McCarthy, 2024, talked about things being hilarious, and did so in the framework, the context of you know, queer sort of you know, reference. But it's an important topic, an important reference, because McCarthy, she talks about, like, she references these hilarious times and situations, you know, great people, you know, when there's a lot of pride and proud attitude, in things in a certain way, a certain motion, and I feel like that's an important follow-up before we get to our final theme and reference, which will be more or less change. And there's a bit of an intelligence to the sequence of things here, and everything else. But yeah, McCarthy, 2024, spoke about hilarity. But I've already sort of mentioned what she does a little bit. I wanna sort of keep that within our goals and intentions here with the analysis of, you know, Tommy Boy or this genre. One of the reasons I picked Tommy Boy is it's called Tommy Boy, which is kind of vague, and sometimes these words, like even Tom and Tommy and boy, are used as codes for other things. And I want something sort of open and blanket to where, you know, with nothing too distracting, nothing too specific. We're not talking about, you know, a character. We're not talking about Tommy. We're not necessarily making jokes either. You know, queer is nothing to joke about, and stuff like that. But yeah, the hilarious environments. I didn't set these things up on purpose or anything. But movies and technology and comedies, good times with good people, good reference, appropriate things, you know, school, and and all that stuff, and is funny, is hilarious, and it's important, I think, to integrate into our lives. I think it's even significantly important. I feel like the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of people have been kind of at a fake depression level because of our failure as a society at sort of succeeding at, you know, let's say a couple of free coupons mixed into everything else, and stuff like that. But anyway, I want to get into my last reference because there's a couple extra things I want to talk about. My last reference is it's on Change, and it's by Wade, A. Wade, 2023. This academic peer-reviewed reference speaks of change, and the guy, and his article is easy to find. this discussion and theme on change is what I decided to pay attention through for my entire analysis. I picked the theme change, which just kind of go with a theory or something discussed in class, and I have like a list of maybe 30 that I can think of and topics from the class. I decided to go with one that I called change, and the teacher didn't love it, but yeah, and I think it's self-explanatory. But up until this point, and for maybe a half minute longer, change, I think, is where, the self-actualized, 2024 state of, something better than funny, change, co-change, and the integration and that being aware and where we are now and using that as we progress and continue in this sort of, humorous way. I think it's important for us to change.